Envy, and I'm one half of the NWA Women's World Tag Team Champion.
And I'm Kinsey Page, the other half of the NWA World Women's Tag Team Champion.
And you better go listen to the Alliance blog, what is it called again?
Podcast, period.
Or you're ugly. Pretty and Power approved.
Hey guys, check this out. I am officially now sponsored by Dubby. Dubby is a clean energy drink made to give you focus with no crash. If you guys are like me, you're always needing a burst of energy, especially with one with no crash. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. It keeps me awake with no jitters, guys. Check it out. Merch link is in the bio. Dubby. Oh, we're on. What's up, guys? Welcome to the pre-party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is Jay Count. Every Tuesday, the hour before Power, too sweet to be sour. Too sweet. I'm here to talk to you about the NWA with your hashtag NWA fan. We are the Alliance. And like I said, we're here every Tuesday to get you pumped up for NWA Power. And we've got fresh content. I mean, literally right off the presses. They were recording matches last night, and we're going to see the efforts that they produced tonight on POWERRR. If you're a member of the Fight subscription service, of course, that's where you're going to see it live. If not, you'll see it on Friday on YouTube. And we've already got a full bank of people in the chat. What is up, everybody? I'm very excited to be here today to talk to you about some wrestling. And I see my pal Willie Bowen's in the house. I see, who else is here? Doty's in the house. Is Tyrus drinking Dubby? I don't think that Tyrus is drinking some of this delicious Dubby. I mean, he should if he wants some more clarity and he wants some more, some jitterless caffeine. I mean, the prime reason why I drink it is that I feel so much better than I did with other energy drinks like Reign or Bang or Monster or even Red Bull. I felt very jittery, and there was always that crash that was associated with those drinks. When I drink Dubby, there is no crash, which is super important to me because, well, who wants to crash, man? I ain't got time to rest. You guys, I don't have time to rest. If I can show you for just a second here, if you're on our YouTube or Twitch feed, you can know that I'm interviewing Danny Limelight in about an hour or so. Hour and a half. I'll be interviewing Danny Limelight. He's on his way to challenge for the United Wrestling Network World's Heavyweight Championship against Jordan Clearwater. Now, this is definitely a height advantage for Jordan Clearwater, but the experience goes to Danny Limelight. And, well, when you're talking about the United Wrestling Network, and I won't get too much into it now, but there's the embassy in the corner of Jordan Clearwater, Invictus Cash, Prince Nana. There's so many obstacles that are in the way for Danny Limelight, but a victory for Danny Limelight means a championship match in Arizona against Eddie Kingston. So whoever walks out on December 11th as World's Heavyweight Champion will face Eddie Kingston at the Red Carpet Rumble. So, I mean, that's pretty exciting stuff. We're going to talk to Danny Limelight all about that. Tyrus is more of a Monster guy. Yeah, Tyrus, you know what? Tyrus, to me, seems like a Red Bull guy. And I only say that because I would just want to see his big mitten of a hand holding onto one of those tiny little cans of energy. I think that would be quite hilarious. Jeremy's here. Jeremy says, hello, Alliance fam, and welcome to the pre-party with J Cal. Don't forget that thumbs up to like and share with your friends, and that subscribe button if you feel so inclined. Guys, we are adding to the roster of all the cool stuff that you're going to see here on the Alliance Blog Network, and I mean on Twitch and on YouTube. We have some cool things that are coming up, but this week, right, you've got the pre-party with J Cal, the aforementioned sessions with Danny Limelight. Then we have the other Alliance guys. We'll be here on Wednesday, of course. Then the OGs, the original Alliance guys, on Thursday. And we're looking at potentially bringing some more content to you guys, more podcasts, more live streams. I don't know how we're going to do it. Wednesday also, jeez, it's so much. Wednesday evening, we'll be talking to Vinny. I have his book here somewhere. Vinny Berry of Wrestleville, and we'll be talking to him. This is the second edition of the Vault, Volume 2. I just got it in the mail last night actually, and a lot of quality interviews from people like Duke the Dumpster Drosy, Kerry Morton. In fact, Kerry Morton actually autographed my book. I have a Kerry Morton autograph now, so thank you to Vince Berry, and of course we'll be talking to him tomorrow. Just stay tuned. He talks to Sal Renaro. Let's see, Freight Train, Congo Kong. I mean, and a lot of these guys were before they were stars. Blake Christian back in 2019. RJ City back in 2019. I mean, there's just so much great content in here. I'm very much looking forward to reading this and checking it out. And again, I hope you guys will join us for all of this, because we're here to talk to you about the NWA and pro wrestling in general. And we like when you guys are here, a part of it. I see Dave Scooby's here as well. So welcome everyone. The room is filling up. If this is your first time watching the show, thank you for checking us out. If you are a regular, again, it's so awesome that you spend your Tuesdays with us here on the Alliance Blog Network. Again, we're here on YouTube and on Twitch, but you can follow us on all social medias at the Alliance Blog. We are on Twitter, very active on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We've even tried out this that new one, Hive, although can't seem to get anything to work on that app. We'll see how that goes. But again, we do appreciate you guys being here, and let's just get right to it, right? Because we're heading into the new season of NWA POWERRR. I mean, technically, the new season kicked off with those co-promoted events with Wildcat in New Orleans, but they returned to the Skyline Studios in Nashville under the guise of a secret television taping, which means there's no fans in attendance. Hell, Gary Horn's not even there because Gary's got he's down with the bug, but they have already started filming some stuff. We know that we're going to have the championship series that returns tonight. And it's kind of exciting. The championship series to me is almost like a reset button for the NWA. It allows them to halt whatever was happening and allows them to move forward. Now look at some of the faces you see here. And of course, this is the first night of the championship series. But, I don't see Trevor Murdoch. I don't see Matt Cardona. I don't see a team Cardona. I don't see a team Murdoch. So I don't know how the teams are going to break out. Now, I would imagine we're going to get some sort of draft. I imagine we're going to get some sort of understanding of how these teams are formed. But as of right now, I mean, it's pretty much up in the air. And I mean, if we're going to look at the teams, I mean, sorry, I need to pull the graphic down. If you look at some of the teams, like, we don't have a full roster yet because I'm sure that will be announced tonight. But as I look at things, like we have Tyrus's team, we have Camille's team, Team Brickhouse, we have a Team Fixers, the U.S. Tag Team Champions, and a Team Great, which I don't know who is the captain of that team. It could be actually a couple of different people. Maybe it's Jack Stain. Maybe it is Austin Idol. But Team Great is the only group whose name we can't really identify from the spoilers. We know that the wrestlers already drafted. EC3 and Thrilbilly Silas have been drafted on Team Tyrus. We know that Tom Latimer and Kratos are on Team Brickhouse. Bully Ray, Damage of Blunt Force Trauma, and Rush Freeman all are a part of the Fixers, and that's Rush Freeman of the Spectaculars. And we also know that Odinson, Judeus from Miserably Faithful, and PJ Hawks are all on Team Great. But I can't tell you who Team Great is. I don't know what to expect from that. But, with the championship series, it was kind of confusing, as we saw that story play out a few seasons ago, back before the 73rd anniversary show. The winner of the championship series gets the spoils, right? the winning team, if the coach captain is a champion, they have the ability to basically not defend the title or give that championship to somebody else, the championship opportunity to somebody else. We saw that with Velvet Sky finally giving her championship spot first to Tim Storm, but he was unable to compete, and then later gave it to Angelina, and she was not able, or Angelina, and then they turned that into a title qualification match between her and Chelsea Green. So that never came to fruition, but we'll see how that all pans out. Of course, all of this is happening, and it's kind of wild right now. Hold on a second. I don't know who's at my door. Sorry, lady, beat it. I can't help you. I'm podcasting here. Quit ringing my damn doorbell. Jesus. Hope that doesn't get me kicked off of anything. Let's see some of your comments. So what's that going? So with this going on, what does that mean? Will there be 2 title shots out there in the NWA? Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. So like Jeremy, just to help clarify, everyone on the team gets some sort of title shot. So the team that won last time was the Pope and Velvet Sky, their team. And so Trevor Murdoch won a title shot. Trevor Murdoch had a shot at the World's Heavyweight Championship. Colby Corino was supposed to have a shot at a title. I don't know if they gave him a junior title shot to make up for that. Jack Stain had won the national championship title shot. I think Genocide used hers in a tag team, in a women's tag team match with Taryn Terrell. And I'm trying to think what Pope did with his. Did maybe he challenged for the TV title? I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, I think that's going to be. It's a nice way to reset things, recreate some new angles. Now, unfortunately, when we look at the card, they've already kind of slipped back into old bad habits, I would say. But we'll see how it pans out. Our good friend the Mayor says your thoughts on Colby Corino going to the WWE. And look, man, I mean, if the WWE has taught us anything, is that nepotism is alive and well. Of course, Steve Corino is, part down there in the Performance Center. He kind of took over what Adam Pearce did previously, helping train the talent. And of course, he's a former World's Heavyweight Champion in his own right. Colby, I don't know that Colby fits in with the current dynamic of a WWE superstar. Excuse me. They don't have a junior heavyweight, nor do they have a cruiser heavyweight division. I don't know how that benefits Colby Corino. Now, if they're going to use him strictly as enhancement, I can see it. I just don't recommend it. But at the end of the day, you got to go where they're going to pay you. Obviously, Colby Corino's got a family to feed, and he's a young man. There's a lot of money to be made in the WWE. And, as much as I hate to see him leave the NWA, because I'll be honest, Colby Corino is one of these guys that have grown on me since being here. He's been very, to what I'm looking for. His growth and maturity has really, I have taken notice. I've seen him become a more competitive wrestler. I've seen less silly risks. I can't tighten up my W cup. There we go. And I really like to see him. I'd like to see something good for him happen. I was really hoping for an extended storyline with Kerry Morton. We've talked about it, and it's really pushed by our pals at the other Alliance guys. But that the Bastard Sons, the heel tag team that could have been with Kerry Morton and Colby Corino as they chased maybe the U.S. tag titles, that would have been a lot of fun. But it just never came into play. The Mayor says the last bastard goes home to daddy. Yeah, the last bastion, not bastard. The last bastion of pro wrestling, we get to go home in essence, right? wrestling with MMA, I don't remember if the WWE was looking at Colby. I know that he had a shot in Japan. I think it was going to be with All Japan Pro Wrestling, and I think I could be wrong, but I think if he was leveraged to go to All Japan to be a part of their junior heavyweight division, and because of his demons, his past, it prevented them from using him, and which is a real shame. I mean, eerily similar to not David Flair, but Richard. Not Richard Flair. What was Ric Flair's son? Oh man, I forgot his name. Ric Flair's youngest son, who passed away from his addiction to heroin. I mean, he had opportunities to wrestle in the WWE and in Japan, and things were happening for him. And unfortunately, he never got to reach those depths. So, Reed Flair, thank you, Dodie. Reed Flair. Unfortunately, again, the Colby Carino as a kid, he's a 10-year veteran. I think he's only 25 years old. So it's really sad, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens down the road. But yeah, with Colby, I mean, it's not a for sure thing yet. I mean, I think they're just in negotiations. He said he wouldn't renew his contract with the NWA. That could be a many of things. Maybe the NWA wants to give him more money. Maybe he'll stick around. None of us know for certain any of this. These are just gossip and rumors and innuendo. But I think that would work. If he ends up going to the WWE, I'm sure they'll find something for him. But I don't imagine it'll be very much in ring, unless maybe he works as an enhancement for like NXT. Because I'm sure he can help teach people. I'm sure he can be used in that capacity. He's a wrestling prodigy, really. And then let's see. Jeremy says when they were building up the Cruiserweight 205 live roster, it would have made perfect sense then. They literally grabbed cruiserweights from all around the world. T.J. Perkins, the whole that whole tournament. Brian Kendrick, it's very well could have been in talks with him then. I don't know. That cruiserweight division was such a hot thing, and then Vince didn't see value in it and let it fizzle out, unfortunately. And that's going to be problematic. I always felt they should have just given it its own entity on the network, not worried about trying to put it as a regular show, and just put those matches, compilation matches from other properties, whether it be NXT, SmackDown, or Raw. But again, this isn't the WWE podcast; it's the NWA podcast. Dodie says, "Where's Darius Lockhart when you need him?" Right? And then I thought I saw. Oh yeah, Dodie also said, "Colby leave. It's time to bring back Jay Spade." Yeah, and Jay Spade is a guy who God, he had so much potential, and for whatever reason, they just stopped using him. I don't know. Maybe he said something controversial. Maybe he got some heat with the front office, but they just stopped using him. And Tim corrected me. The fortunate sons, not the bastard sons. I guess that would be something else entirely. The bastard sons. I didn't even have the mic near me. Hope you guys heard me okay. Let's see. You were thinking Reese because Reese is a perfectly fine name. So is Reed. Both of them are other things as well, like Reese's Pieces and a reed for a flute or a saxophone. I don't know. But yeah, you were close there. Willie says All Japan Pro Wrestling, Night Wrestling Network, and Impact Wrestling are 1,000 times better than the human waste WWE. I get it, Willie. I don't really watch what happens much of anything outside of the NWA United Wrestling Network. I've been meaning to get onto the MLW bandwagon. It's just kind of hard because you guys know we produce about 6 hours of content here on this channel, and that's 6 hours of podcasting content. But we also do on our YouTube, on our Instagram and Twitch, we put up short format videos. We also put up photos on our Instagram account that also parlay into our Tumblr and our Facebook page. We have articles being written by Lamb and Chris Flackett and sometimes me. This is turning into a lot, which is a great thing. That's not a complaint at all, but it's just hard to find time to do the extra stuff. MLW is on my list. Mission Pro is definitely on my list. There is a ton of local SoCal indie shows that I'd like to go to, but we'll talk more about all that stuff another time. Dodie and Willie are both big on All Japan and the NWA working together again. Well, what's odd, right, is the NWA looks like they're forging some sort of relationship with AAA, who's now entering some sort of relationship with Nick Aldis. And how funny or weird or ironic or just weird, I guess, is the term I can only come up with. If Nick Aldis happens to be on that joint show with Billy Corgan, the Smashing Pumpkins, the World is a Vampire Festival in Mexico, if AAA and the NWA put on an event, what if we had Tyrus challenged by Nick Aldis for the 10 pounds of gold, with Aldis representing AAA? I mean, I'm not saying it's a done deal, but it'd be weird if it happened. Wrestling with MMA says 205 Live would have benefited from a studio setting, I feel. I mean, they could have done so much. As I know somebody who was helping to produce that show, and it was doomed from the start. They tried so many things to get that thing right. I think a regular Full Sail University showcase, because that's where they were initially when that show kicked off, if they could have stayed there and just had the best cruiserweights in the country, damn their contract status, if they could just have the best cruiserweights. And I'm talking, we're going to be talking to Danny Limelight in just a little bit on, later this afternoon. If he could just come there and have a few matches, win one, lose one, have that 50-50 indie booking talent. And then the guys on the roster really could have that, plus one type booking where you're really building up some of the future stars for those shows. I would do that well before trying to put them on network TV or even have them having a touring schedule. And it would just be that title, just that one title. And they could have done the same thing with the women's division as well. I guess there's a lot more to it, but I just feel like if you build it, they will come. And this is for all wrestling. If you put together and put the money in, of course, it's going to cost. It's not going to be free, but you put the money in and you put quality product out, people are going to want to watch it. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Yeah. Jeremy, I was just telling my wife this. I said, we produce more weekly content than the NWA does. And let me pump the brakes. Because that might not be true, right? Because you have This Is Pro Wrestling, and I do believe they go at least 2 hours, but it may be just an hour. I haven't really watched in a while. I know that they were doing some other things on their other channel, so maybe they put out as much or maybe more. But it's funny, man. We try to just have this fun environment where we're all talking wrestling. So we'll see how that goes. Dave Scooby says, hope to see some wrestlers from J-Vub's Pritchard Wrestling Academy possibly use the next few tapings. Well, Dave Scooby, I mean, I've seen some familiar faces in the back. I mean, in various different clips. I mean, I know Danny Deals put out a clip and we saw Rhett Titus was backstage. He was with Colby Carino. We saw Rush Freeman. So we know that they're there. I saw a photo with Genocide and Blake Bulletproof Troop, which leads me to believe that maybe Blake is actually taking part of this season. I know that he's close to Chris Silvio and to Genocide. He's done a lot of training with their school and has helped with them. So maybe he's finally going to get an opportunity in the NWA. He had a brief run in Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. And remember, too, like his first actual wrestling match was against Jordan Clearwater. They could be bringing him in to help set up Jordan Clearwater for a feud. But who knows? Chris says no one currently in All Japan Pro Wrestling works in the States. Feds like Dragon Gate, Noah, or DDT are more realistic. Chris, I mean, you have a good point, but they do use some American Kaijin talent. I don't know. I can't really speak to what All Japan does. It's very much a mystery to me. I don't know anything about All Japan right now. I would love to watch more. I'd love to know more, but it's nothing for me right now. It's not on my radar. Willie says All Japan Pro Wrestling, former NWA World Heavyweight Champion were Giant Baba, Satoshi, Kojima, Kahagas, Shinya Hashimoto, and the Great Muta. Well, Kahagas never wrestled for All Japan Pro Wrestling. I know Great Muta did. I know Hashimoto did. And I know Baba and Kojima did. What is up, Terry? Thanks for stopping by, man. Dodie says All Japan or no Japan at all for the NWA. Look, I don't want to sour anybody on anything, but you know, All Japan is probably one of the weakest links in terms of visibility in the NWA. Sorry, let me try that again. All Japan Pro Wrestling at one point was one of the biggest promotions in Japan. And at this point, I feel like they're much lower on the totem pole. And the fact that some conglomerates are now own DDT and Noah. We've got conglomerates that own New Japan and Stardom. All Japan Pro Wrestling, I still believe, is independently owned. And if a promotion like the WWE wanted to get a foothold in the Japanese market, something that would honor the history and tradition of pro wrestling and puroresu with the legacy of one of the oldest wrestling promotions in the world, the WWE, I mean, that would make sense to buy All Japan, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? I don't know. No JKL after dark. Sorry, guys. No, that's not happening. All right, so let's look a little bit at tonight's show. We actually have some interesting matchups. Now, you can't quote me on this. Can't tell you this is going to be great. I know that Sauronaro, I think he was a part of the alternate elimination match the first time around. I believe Colby Carino was in there as well. And I think C.W. Anderson has been replaced by our pal JP Jeremiah Plunkett. You got Rolando Freeman and Anthony Andrews rounding out the four-man group. This is like a representation of the Spectaculars, right? You've got Rolando from the Spectaculars. You've got Sauronaro from the Miserably Faithful. You've got, of course, our pal Jeremiah Plunkett of the Ill Begotten. And then, of course, the Southern Gentleman with Anthony Andrews. Those elimination matches for the alternates. If they're an alternate, I don't understand what's supposed to what they're alternating for. In case of injury, well, that's fine. Why are they wrestling? And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But we'll see. Sometimes the NWA will book things that on the surface don't make a lot of sense, and then the payoff is. It doesn't make any sense either, but we'll see what happens tonight. We'll see how they pander this, and we'll see how it goes. JJ Edison says, our boy the mayor. I respect the mayor. Japan and Japanese companies always frown on being bought out by foreigners. And look, I get that, but at the end of the day, they're all for profit, right? Every single business, unless it identifies as a nonprofit entity, they're there to make money. And how much can the WWE offer? It's got a net valuation of $5 billion. I know that they have a deal with Fox that's coming up in 2024 that right now they're not making as much as it costs to produce. I know that their deal with USA is up for a few more years. They've got the Saudi money still coming in every year. They're making money being a part of Peacock. I can't tell you 100% that they have the leverage to buy All Japan, regardless of whether All Japan wants to sell or not. But again, I'm just saying that looks like the weakest link of the major Japanese wrestling promotions. Because again, you've got New Japan. Partnering with Stardom, you've got Pro Wrestling Noah partnering with DDT, and you've got All Japan kind of just out there by itself. I still think Dragon Gate is out there as a freelance as well, but again, leverage, right? Leverage. All Japan has history. All Japan has a lot of significance. In the past, they've had relationships with the WWE. Putting them with the NWA would be great, but what can the NWA really offer them? And that's another thing, and you're going to send me off on a tangent here, but when we talk about companies that should work with the NWA, Billy Corgan even stated like, hey, we could help be a developmental for some of these promotions like the WWE or AEW, but in reality, can they? I mean, as it stands right now, look, they're filming matches that are completely no audience, right? Or a very limited audience. As far as I know, no tickets were sold. So if you're there, you're either probably know somebody or you're part of production. So if the NWA is only running quarterly in like 4 or 5 matches a week in that quarter, that's only like 20 matches a year for an individual, and they're not even guaranteed to wrestle every single show. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you were to employ the NWA to help develop your guys, how are they really developing them? You look at a company like the United Wrestling Network, even Memphis, right? Hollywood or Memphis, they're running monthly. If I was investing in that, you could have your talent on those shows monthly. I don't know. Chris says no Japan then Dodie. What's up, Samar? All Retro Studio. Glad you're here. Dodie says, well, no Japan. I'm okay with that. Yeah, I mean, like, look, I don't think right now that All Japan and the I don't think that All Japan has a whole lot to offer the NWA and vice versa. And they don't really need each other because they don't really benefit one another. And what they're doing in All Japan is so secluded from what the NWA is doing, and vice versa. Like, we want it to happen because we're fans of both product, but when you look at it, it just doesn't really make sense. And then Chris points out that Tajiri is the booker currently and has ties to the WWE. And then you've got Sion, who wants to defend the national title against Tajiri in Japan. So maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but we'll see. The next matchup, and I'm not sure how these matches are actually lined up. I don't know what's what, and it looks like I'm actually missing one. But I know we have. I don't have the graphic for it, but I think we get Bully Ray taking on Odinson. Now again, Bully Ray is representing, I think, Team Great. No, I'm sorry. Let me see here. Bully Ray is a part of wait, I'm lost. Okay, Odinson's a part of Team Great, and Bully Ray is a part of Team Fixers. That seems like a fun mix up there. And then also, so they're going to be taking on each other in the first round. I kind of thought Bully Ray was done. I thought his storyline in Impact was really what was kind of more dominant for his career. But it turns out he's still working NWA matches, which I think is great. That's a really good deal for the NWA because he does have some name value. He can help get some people over. And putting him in the mid-card, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I really want to see how this continues to grow. Devin Dowling's in the house mentioning this here beard. Yeah, man, I need to go get a haircut anyways. Christmas is coming and I want to look nice for the wife and kids. Willie says Harley Race, Jack Briscoe, Terry and Dory, Dusty, and Ric Flair have also wrestled in All Japan Pro Wrestling while they were NWA World Heavyweight Champions. Yeah, Willie, you are 100% right. 100% right. Yes, the NWA and All Japan very much enjoyed relationships in the past. I just don't think it's I don't think it's in the cards right now. Now that could change. That could change 100%. None of this is written in stone. And who knows? Look, this next few months for the NWA could be make or break time for the NWA. And I'm not. How can I say this the right way? If the NWA's end game is to get on network TV like Paramount or Pop TV or something like that, maybe taking over the spot that Impact used to have, maybe the Paramount Network. Wherever it lands, right? If they could get a decent network deal, they could really start making some noise. If production continues to come out of Billy's pocket, I don't know how much longer he could pay for the show unless has bigger plans to start making more money. But this whole arena show that's happening with oh, hey, PCW Ultra. I see a lot of you guys on here on my TikTok, and I wasn't really paying attention, but let me read some of your comments. Do I think Triple H will bring back the Cruiserweight division? I think if Triple H brings back the Cruiserweight division, then it makes a whole lot of sense for Colby Carino to come back. Let's see. Oh, there you go, dropping the phone. Let's put this somewhere safe. PCW Ultra. Yeah, PCW Ultra is really cool in SoCal. I haven't been to one of their shows, but I will say that the Sheik, Joe Khabib, has really done a great job with PCW Ultra. That's the most positive thing I'll ever say about that. So yeah. Let's see. Where was I? Now I'm kind of lost. Okay. So we were talking about. We'll just jump back into the comments. Dodie says, I hope this will be the signal that they will help build Tom Latimer better. I mean, maybe. It's hard to say, especially with a guy like Tom Latimer. Every time I feel like they're going to pull the trigger and give this guy the push he deserves, they pull it out from underneath him. Well, Nick Aldis is gone, so they don't have that. They can't use him for that anymore. There is no strictly business. We haven't even seen Chris Adonis in an NWA ring for a while, so who knows what they're going to do with Tom Latimer. But I agree with everybody who's saying it. It's time to put the rocket pack on Tom Latimer. To be quite honest, I hope he's the one that takes the television title off of Jordan Clearwater, and I hope he uses that television title to catapult him into the main event against whomever the world's heavyweight champion is, even Tyrus. Yeah, really likes Tom Latimer. Chris says, bro, we get y'all like Japan, all Japan. That's nice. If you're the NWA, I'd focus on an NWA, a AAA, which is more beneficial. That's what I was talking about. The NWA is at this crossroads right now. If they are trying to get on a national deal where someone else is helping to pay for the production of that and they're earning bigger advertising dollars, then these next few shows are going to be very monumental. So they're doing the live show in Kentucky, which is, has been very kind to the NWA. That's a very pro NWA audience. So that's a smart business decision right there. They're going to Mexico I'm not going to say it's a hostile territory. It's a AAA fan base. There's not a ton of NWA fans in Mexico, but what this could do for the NWA is it definitely put some eyeballs on them as part of the World as a Vampire tour. If they could have a good outing there, if they could have some good matches and, pass the eye test, that's the kind of stuff that TV executives are going to be looking for. How does it look? Does it look like a podunk show, or does it look like something with high production values, with great results, with lots of people in attendance? So we'll have to kind of wait and see what works out here. Now I'm forecasting, I'm speculating. There's no one who from the NWA telling me that this is the goal, but if I'm reading the tea leaves as someone who's been a fan of the NWA for the last 25 years, and as someone who's been watching pro wrestling since I was knee high to a grasshopper, it just makes sense. It seems like that's where they would be going. And I'm not saying that wrestling always makes sense, but as a businessman, I think that's where they're heading. And no, Devin, I'm not going to diet white and give Santa Vault a run for his money. There's only one Santa Claus brother, and it ain't me. Dodie says, no, Japan, while NWA are busy now building relations with AAA, I have no problem with that. Yeah, I think that too. Devin says, Tom Latimer is the heart and soul of the NWA. He should just have Aldis's role. I mean, that's not a bad idea either. It's not. Well, Willie says, what TV channels may be interested in putting NWA Power and USA on their schedule? Well, first of all, I don't think you're going to get both. I think you might get one or the other. And of course, whatever makes it to a actual broadcasting network, whether it be, cable or just, national channels, which it's not going to be national channels. I think you're going to see like maybe Paramount. Is Pop still a TV channel? There's a lot of networks out there. I got to be honest with you. I don't have cable, nor have I had cable for the last 10 years. I use streaming platforms. I'm watching Disney Plus, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Paramount Plus, Hulu. HBO Max. So I'm not on top of any of this stuff, but I do believe that there's opportunity. Content is king always. Good content is even more righteous. Yeah, I mean, I had to give them a compliment. Wrestling with MMA, Jeremy, I had to. Khabib's is doing a great job. He's got a product that's different from Hollywood. It's different from Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, and you had to be. And he even uses some of the same supporting characters. Papa Esco, I consider him a Hollywood guy, but he's working for PCW. Danny Limelight's worked PCW. Hammerstone from MLW's been there. They brought in, they used to use Pentagon. They used Rob Van Dam. I mean, they've done a lot to differentiate themselves from all the other wrestling promotions. And, I'm not like I said, not a big, huge PCW fan, but they even give nods to the past. They brought Terry Funk out here when he was still making dates to, meet and greets and stuff. They would bring out legends to be a part of the show. So you got to give it up to Khabib. He knows how to promote wrestling. I've always said that, back in his Florida days, he did a good job too. So I could see it on the CW alongside WOW. I mean, that would be a great landing place for the NWA on the CW next to WOW. I mean, yeah, that would be a very great place for the NWA to be. I don't foresee it being on one of the major networks, but stranger things have happened. And, having a guy like this with your 10 pounds of gold on the Gutfeld, it certainly helps create more brand awareness. And I'm not saying that that's the only thing that you need, but it certainly helps. Let's see. You guys are on it today. Hey, I saw a new name in there. I'll get to that in a minute. Shawn Michaels says Corgan's doing good things. I think so, man. I mean, for as much flack as he's gotten over the past few months because of Nick Aldis leaving, I mean, I feel like he's making some moves that are good moves. They're going to benefit the NWA in the long term. Now, Kevin Werner, I haven't seen you on here before. So, Kevin, first of all, thanks for checking us out today. He says, I think my network TV would be good. I didn't even know my network TV was still a thing. And I'm not trying to be glib. Like I said, I don't watch regular TV. So if it's still around, well, sure. Absolutely. I mean, my network TV is typically on over-the-air antenna, right? Most people could get that as long as they have some sort of antenna on their home, which means they're in thousands and hundreds of thousands of markets. That'd be amazing for the NWA. Devin says, is the CW owned by Fox? If so, Tyrus might have some connections. No, the CW is owned by, I believe it's owned by Time Warner, which is now merged with HBO and Discovery and all that stuff. Shawn Michaels says the NWA needs to go to Puerto Rico and give Mecha Wolf a title shot in Puerto Rico. I mean, that would get it. That would draw. That would pop a crowd. Chris says Tubi would be a good fit for the NWA. Yeah, I know there's Crackle out there. That's free. I believe Tubi is free. I think there is a few more. Dodie says, I have not much expectation for Bully Ray. He's more feel like old name used for short-lived special attraction. Then will gone sooner or later. Better build Thrillbilly Odinson, JTG, Tom, and such. Dodie, I agree with you in that I think you could use Bully Ray to build Tom and JTG and Odinson and Thrillbilly. I think he's a guy that if you put him into a serious program with, it would elevate the other. So if Odinson wins tonight against Bully Ray, that makes Odinson look like a stronger performer, stronger pro wrestler. I don't know what the plan is, but like I agree with you. I think you could elevate these guys through Bully Ray. And he's got a mind for the business too. Shawn Michaels says Crackle had Lucha Libre at one point. I did not know that. Chris says NWA stars, let's be real. Losing Aldis, the OGK, and Colby is hard. Who's a person to market around that casual fans would like? Well, first of all, Kobe is not somebody I would consider a casual fan type person, nor would I say the OGK. You're talking about fringe talent. OGK it never really was a thing in a national company. They weren't there in the WWE. Yes, Michael Bennett was, but he was never treated as a top thing. He built his name, rebuilt his name in Ring of Honor. So you can't tell me that the casual fan, they don't give a shit about OGK, and that's just being honest. They don't even know about Nick Aldis. You have to remember, Nick Aldis had a run in Impact. It was short-lived. He wasn't there forever. He didn't build the brand with Christopher Daniels and Samoa Joe and Low Key and Jeff Jarrett and Raven and Rhino. That he wasn't there for that. He was there towards the end, the Impact days. And even then, he was only there for a couple of years. His name is not as big as we like to think it is. He's not a household name by any stretch of the imagination. I have a lot of friends who don't watch the NWA, and if I mention Nick Aldis, they have no clue as to who that is. You can mention Bobby Roode because he wrestled for the WWE. You can bring up even a guy like Joey Janela, and they know that name more than they know Nick Aldis because he was on AEW. We all have to stop with the casual fan stuff. There is no such thing as a casual fan that's going to recognize NWA names. The only guy on that list is probably Tyrus. And to a lesser extent, maybe Trevor Murdoch, because he had that run in the WWE for a couple of years. But the rest of the roster, come on, nobody. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be. They don't have to be well household names. They have to build up the show and start showcasing these talents. Terry says he wants to see Tom Latimer as national champion. I do too. I want to see Tom Latimer become the next Grand Slam. Dax Draper, yep. Yeah, Doty says they need a better writer first. That's how stars are created. Yep. What's up, Mike? What's up, Media Mike 5? Sorry, it's funny. Doty says, well, that's what you called starts to attract casual. Tyrus watched more than even Roman Reigns. Yeah. Me TV. Yeah, I remember. Okay. CW was sold 2 months ago. I didn't know that. See how much I'm in the loop of regular broadcast television. Mike says NWA can get on whichever they choose if there's a TV deal and the money is right. However, just like OVW, they can cry. OVW is in millions of homes, but majority can't access OVW unless cable carrier has it. That channel. He says here, all my buddies are here. Mike says OGK is popular with OGK and hard wrestling fans just like Aldis and anyone else, regular watchers. I won't say casual fans anymore because won't give a shit about the names is what they're doing in the ring. Doty says Matt Taven was a face of Ring of Honor 2009 collapse. Don't think casual fans cared with him. Yeah. I'm going to try to jump through the comments here. Terry, that surprises me that you like Joey Janela. That's surprising. And again, I've always said it, and Terry, I've read you write it before too. Wrestling is so much like Baskin Robbins. There's such a flavor for everybody. You know, just because I like one thing doesn't mean you have to like it. There's plenty of other flavors out there to choose from. Mayor says Nick Aldis needs the NWA more than the NWA needs him. He'll be fortunate as hell to make it to AEW Dark. I don't know if you're aware of this, Mayor, but he's got a spot opening up in AAA. Plus, he's working with Conrad to do a Oceanic pay-per-view in Australia and New Zealand, where it'll be like a StarCast type event where they'll bring in some of the stars of pro wrestling that aren't under contract to do a series of shows, kind of not unlike the World Series of Wrestling that already happens out there. But I think it's a pretty good idea. Yeah, James, I know. So the weird thing about all of this is I knew that Mike was Media M5. I thought they were two different people with MV Hitman 73. I know that they're one person now. I thought they were two separate people. That's why I think I went with Matt and Mike. So I apologize for that. But we are getting run out of time here. So let's talk about let's talk about some more of the shows. Dodie says Joey Janela is an asshole. I remember how he swore to torn Tim Storm into pieces back then. Could he be the heel we need? I mean, look, he's not the heel that I think we need, but he has got eyeball. If we can grab eyeballs, and I would say I mean the NWA. If the NWA can grab eyeballs with Joey Janela, they should. Anybody that could bring more attention to the brand, to the show. I mean, that's what they're doing with Tyrus, right? Why not do it all up and down the roster? Another match we have for tonight is Judeus and PJ Hawk, which is the ultimate odd couple, taking on Damage and Rush Freeman. Again, Damage, you guys might know from Blunt Force Trauma. I have no idea what anyone's talking about. Any other wrestlers that may or may not appear to look like Damage. I only know of Damage. So Team Great versus Team Fixers. It's weird that it's a Team Fixers and there's not a Fixer in the match. And then also we have the matchup between the Thrillbilly representing Team Tyrus taking on Kratos representing Team Brickhouse. Kratos is a beast, man, but Thrillbilly is going to surprise a lot of people. I expect this one to steal the show tonight, to be perfectly honest with you. These guys are going to, big men slapping meat? Is that the expression? I wish Heebs was here. He'd correct me. And then, of course, EC3 versus Tom Latimer, which, goodness gracious. If it's anything like the pay-per-view match, just fast forward it. You might not even want to watch it. I'm not excited about this at all. This is the one match. Now, look, they could win me over by having a good match. I just don't think that's going to happen. It's going to be more of that control your narrative shit. Sorry, I don't normally cuss this much on the show, but I just don't care for that at all. More of the comments. Yeah, Mike, we're all here for you, brother. I hope you know that. If you guys are a praying type, please pray for our pal Mike. If you don't pray, just send positive vibes, good thoughts for our boy Mike. Once he gets up and at him, man, he's going to be a force to reckon with. And hopefully, we'll do some collaborations with Mike in the future when he's up and at them. Let's see. Gosh, you guys are so far on the comments, man. I'm just trying to get here. Let's see. Let's see. Just call me Brian. Meaning you're going back on YouTube and on Twitch. You're messing me up, man. I'm gonna start calling you Matt again. Thrillbilly versus Kratos looks interesting. Yeah, I think that match is really, really good. Again, Thrillbilly had that great victory over Odinson at the pay-per-view. He challenged Sion in a non-title match and lost. But, I mean, he shouldn't be beating Sion. Sion's your national champion. But now that Pollo is back around, we'll see. Maybe that will become a matchup that we'll see in 2023. Mike says, also the Alliance blog people act like all this is done, gone, withered. All this is all over the indies. He was just in Ricky Steamboat's last match for Big Time Wrestling. All this will do fine. Yeah, I'm not the biggest Nick Aldis fan in the world, but the guy has still got a lot of juice left. He's still relatively young, and he has a ton of options, ton of opportunity. I've even heard that they might be reintroducing World of Sport in the UK, and he would be a great ambassador for that. And again, I had this conversation with somebody on Twitter just a few days ago, and they were talking about how they stopped watching the NWA once Aldis was gone. And my point to that is, if you stopped watching the NWA when Aldis was gone, you never were really an NWA fan. You were a Nick Aldis fan. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with being a Nick Aldis fan. But call a spade a spade. Don't tell me you stopped watching the NWA because Aldis left. Tell me you watch Nick Aldis and you'll follow Aldis wherever he goes. And there's a huge following for Aldis. There are people who are going to watch him with whatever he does. So AAA is smart to get on the Aldis business. And, anyone who's looking to build their brand, again, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up in Memphis for upcoming shows. They're going to bring in the Moose. Why not bring in Aldis? I wouldn't be surprised if you see him pop up in MLW for a short stint. Again, World of Sport, he still has connections to that wrestling promotion in Poland. And, of course, what they're doing in Australia, New Zealand, I think is going to be really big for not only him, but Conrad as well. So, Let's see. Sorry, guys. Devin, what is World of Sport? Okay, so World of Sport, years and years ago, before there was a before WWE was this national company, we had the NWA, which the WWE was a part of at one point, many years ago. In the UK, they had World of Sport, which was more of a catch-as-catch-can style of wrestling. It was, wrestling is wrestling, but it was like that was their big brand. And the World of Sport aired for many years in the United Kingdom. That style of wrestling kind of inspired Colt Cabana, and so it's very interesting style of wrestling. It was very popular. They brought it back for a short time, but again, it was also around the same time when the WWE started raiding all of the English promotions when they started the NXT UK, and that severely hurt them. And of course, then COVID happened, so they just kind of shut down completely. But there's talks that they're bringing it back, and if they do bring it back, it'll be like the same level as a promotion like the NWA. It's not like a mainstream attraction, but something about the same size. But something about the same size in the UK could be a lot bigger than something the same size in the United States, if that makes any sense. Anyways, I think it's going to be really good. So if they do it, I think it's a great move. And let's see. Mike says, Terry McDermott, I can go for that. Have EC3 get crazy style back to him as a more grounded, but still have minister with Max and Judeus. I would like that. It would be interesting because they've already explored the idea of doing intergender wrestling. If they had Judeus and Max the Impaler as a tag team, a regular tag team, and not even make a big deal about it. So here's Max, here's Judeus, their Sinister Minister. Sal's a part of the new Control Your Narrative. Whoever Gags is somebody else under a better gimmick that we could all appreciate. Giant haystacks. There you go. But as you guys can tell, man, there's a lot of moving pieces for the NWA. I mean, geez, we didn't even talk about Camille defending the title against Rekataka last week in Colorado, or excuse me, in Utah, Destination Championship Wrestling, which they have their show available on Fight. So if you're already subscribed to Fight, I think you can watch it for free. I don't know when that match will be out, but stay tuned. I'm sure we'll be talking about it when it does. We know that Camille will be heading to the UK, I think, next week. Her and Tom are taking a few bookings while they're there. And then she's got a few more bookings before the end of the year. So, I mean, things are moving in the right way. Things are very, very positive for the NWA. I think a lot of this is good. Willie says, what if the NWA Pro Wrestling, United Wrestling Network, and Impact Wrestling had a joint crossover matches? That would be great. I would love to see it, but I don't think it's going to happen. I will say this, that there's a greater chance now that Nick Aldis is no longer in the NWA with the United Wrestling Network, but I think it'll be interesting to see what 2023 brings. We know that I know that Dave Marquez is looking to create more opportunities across the country. Championship Wrestling from Atlanta didn't go the way he had hoped. Championship Wrestling from Arizona really didn't go the way he had hoped. But I would be surprised if we see Championship Wrestling make dates in Atlanta and make dates in Arizona and have that roster just kind of follow the Southern California, Arizona, and Georgia, Atlanta marketplace, and that be kind of a circuit for them with maybe stops in Memphis, maybe stops in this new promotion that they're talking about running. I don't know 100%. I can't confirm anything, but I think that would be a very exciting thing that they could do. We know MLW is still running. And, of course, with WrestleMania happening in California this year or next year, 2023, we could see a lot more promotions out here working with the United Wrestling Network, considering they've already got their spots, man. They're in Irvine I think it's like the second Tuesday every month. And they're finally going to have a Sunday show, which means – for an improv to be open to wrestling on a Sunday, that's kind of wild. And anyways, I'll be there on this Sunday. I'll be there to see Danny Limelight challenging Jordan Clearwater I hope you guys are going to watch it when it comes onto YouTube. And I really hope that you'll join us in about half an hour as we talk to Danny Limelight of Championship Wrestling. We'll be doing that interview shortly after this is over. So I do hope that you guys will join us on that one. Excuse me. And then, of course, tomorrow, please join my pals, the other Alliance guys, as they will be talking all things NWA United Wrestling Network. Maybe they'll watch my interview and criticize it, or not criticize it, but critique it. And we'll see how that goes. Joey. Joey. I mean, I've got the mustache, but I'm not nearly sleazy enough. All right, guys, that's going to do it. I do appreciate you guys being here. Let me pull down the banner. I do appreciate you guys spending your Tuesdays with us. I know Power is next for a lot of you. If you're not watching Power, please jump back over here in about half an hour as I talk to Danny Limelight from Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. But until next time, we're going to see you all at the stinking, wonderful, amazing professional wrestling matches. Thanks for checking out the pre-party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. You should hit that subscribe button and join our community. I also want to remind you that we recap NWA Power every Thursday at 8 p.m. in the live stream. We try to stay social, so find us at the Alliance blog. And until next time, we are the Alliance.